Alright, so I wanted to create a video to show people how to get rid of Canadian thistle. It's been a big problem on the herb farm that I work on, and it's a big problem here at this groundskeeping job I have. You can see there's another patch up here. So what it does is it grows not singularly. It will send out seeds, but they grow with a horizontal root that connects every single one of these together. These are probably even connected to here. So what you'll see is as they start growing, your patch will go from a couple to a few, to a run, and eventually trailing off and getting smaller and smaller. These are probably the end of the horizontal root system. And the way to take care of these guys is to slowly eradicate them with just pulling them up at this stage of their growth. So what they have is these little flower buds are starting to show up. So that means the plant is sending energy up from its root systems into every single one of these stalks to try to reproduce, to create flowers, to make seeds. You can wait a little bit and let it get to a flower point, but however, when you do that, you're running the risk of there being seeds, and honestly, I would just get it to this point if you can. So since all these have these buds on them, we're going to take them up, get some really nice heavy gloves, preferably ones that are better than this. Leather works the greatest. And saturate the area around them. You know, give them a good watering for the night before you do this. And you want to get as much of the main taproot as possible. So you can see here, my camera will refocus here. Come on, guy. Anyway, okay, so you can see that break. This is actually where it connects to the horizontal root. You can see it kind of jutting off to the side there. So that's pretty good. That's about as far as we want to go. So that horizontal root, it's still in there, but however, since we're at this point of growth, there's not a lot of energy down in there. It's gonna have to struggle a lot to send up a new shoot with a root that's this big. And if it does, it's gonna be quite small. You can mow them, but I don't recommend it because you won't solve the problem of your Canadian thistle. It'll still stay a patch, and actually it'll get worse. Every time you cut it, instead of being a singular stalk like this, it'll grow several more stalks, multiplying its ability to produce flowers and to produce seeds, thus creating more patches. So that's pretty much it. You do that a couple times and it'll come back in smaller and smaller patches. The main horizontal root starts to die off, and you can see this patch is quite small. I weeded this once earlier this year, but it wasn't at this flowering stage. But let's do a comparison here. So this area over here was loaded. It was chock full of thistle. It looked like this guy. And this I didn't get to. You can see all the new flowers on these guys. But this came back with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a handful of thistle. But they're eventually going away. Just got to stay on top of it. It's a pain in the butt, and it hurts a lot to pull them, but that's the only way to really get rid of them. And okay, so here's one thing I wanted to show you guys. This is what happens when you mow it. This is a singular plant. Let's see if we can get this yarrow out of the way so we can have some sun. So you can see the previous cut from when it was mowed, right there in the middle, right at the tip of my finger, that little brown spot. And then right below it, it sends up three new sprouts, just like that. And these will each flower. This is one plant, and this is not ideal. And also, it becomes a lot harder to pull out of the ground because it's made its root a lot more dense compared to, that's about a 3/8 of an inch. Most of the time these will probably be about a 1/4 inch at the most. So don't mow your thistle. And so one other thing I wanted to talk about is that is just Canadian thistle. This guy here is not Canadian thistle. You can tell by its size and the fact that it grows singularly. This is more like an artichoke in my opinion. It's huge, but it does only have a singular taproot and no horizontal runners. These guys are a lot easier to pull. So if you do want to let your thistle go to flower and have the bees have something to eat, prefer it be not Canadian thistle. That's just the way to go. These guys, you know, you might have to pull a couple, but they're not nearly as a pain in the butt as the Canadian.